All right, so some tips and pointers. So this has set up, so it's nice and stiff, which is what you want to start building on. And this is the time-lapse video that you'll see. So I'm gonna kind of use both for demonstration. So first of all, we wanna kind of address the outside of this. So you wanna smooth and craft. You could do a little damp sponge if you wanted to, but this guy, get this all figured out. And then once he is crafted, maybe do a little bit more compressing at the bottom with that damp, not wet sponge. Okay, and then get the rim nice and damp, not wet as well. You could do that to the bottom, just so that we don't get those S cracks. Okay, and you could also kind of tamp your rim to get it a little bit flatter, so that when you first start out, you've got a nice place to put that first coil. And for the first coil, instead of doing anything fancy, I would, for at least the first one, just do a straight coil. Now this coil was left out as well, and you can see how it's just breaking and it's really stiff. It's not pliable. These will not work. Please, please, please. It's so aggravating for yourself and to try to build with something that's dry. Okay, so like same thing. If I flex them and they bend and they crack like that, then just start over. Okay, that's something that you can make something beautiful later with it. Okay, so for the first coil that I'm gonna put on, I do want to score that edge because I'm putting kind of new clay to old clay. So anytime that you're not doing fresh and fresh, you do want to score and slip. So I've got my trusty fork knife tool. That's the easiest way to do it. And remember, I do want to kind of rough up the surface. Okay. And we always want to have a hand on the outside so that you're not hurting your walls. So I'm going to put it down because I'm starting to build, so I want to put it down on some sort of plastic if you've got your Lazy Susan. Also, something that's nice too, so that you can see where you're going with it, is you can elevate it as well. So that way I'm eye level with it all the way around. Okay, so to start with, we'll put that first coil on there. Okay, so when you're putting on your first coil, again, we're gonna score and score. This is fresh clay, and it's a nice size coil. It's about the size of my thumb. And I'm gonna put score to score. You really don't need any water. And this is a little bit of a square dish. So I'm just gonna follow the shape that I started with my pinch pot for the first coil. For the other ones, you can really do a free build. And when you overlap, you can just take that and pinch that off. It's nice to start and stop in different sections so it doesn't get too thin or thick in that area. Okay, get that snugged on there. Make sure that you're not seeing any negative space anywhere. Okay, and I'm going to do that with another piece of fresh clay. So I'm putting fresh to fresh, so it's okay. I don't need to score and slip. So it's just when you're putting clay that is set up to clay that is fresh that you want to score and slip. But when I'm working, and I'm also blending the clay, so I'm not going to just leave it like this. If I was going to leave the inside coil to coil, I definitely would want to score and slip everything, even if it was fresh to fresh. But because I'm going to blend the inside, that'll allow it not to pull apart in the kiln. So to blend, there's a few different tools. You could use the back of your wooden tool, which you'll see in the time lapse with this one. But I can reach with my hands right now, so I could also do that. You can go, in this case, to start with, I'm going to go down because my base is not as pliable or plastic as my coils, so it's really easy to blend down onto my base. But if you're blending something that's fresh, you can blend either direction, up or down. And I'm just using my thumb to incorporate those two coils together. And I'll just do like half of this so you can see my work, just like in class. Oh. Okay. And you do want to kind of craft as you go, so be aware of negative space and smoothing in one direction and then in the other, and kind of looking constantly around it. Now we will have time to clean up like some areas, but some things will dry out, so you might want to take care of some issues right now. So you can see on the inside it's kind of smooth, so you don't want to leave them like this. You do want to blend your coils on the inside. Now that I've got my basic coils, I can kind of keep up with that. I do want you to try out different kinds of coils, and you can kind of play with what happens if I put it on the outside of the coil. So what happens if I build out here? You're going to go out. If you push it in a little bit, you're going to go in. So if you want like a curvy, swervy pot, you can play around with the positioning that you're putting the coil. The other thing that you can do is just start to create some of those fun coils that you like to do over here. You know, maybe I'll do a braid next. Something that I did do is I do want this to hold water in the end, so I plugged all my negative space. If that's something you want to do, go for it. If not, you can have open negative space with this pot. But again, just make sure that whatever you want to be happening is happening, and always have a supportive hand on the outside as you smooth. When you're working with swirls or odd shapes, a coil over them is a nice way to kind of have a finished edge to then start something else. Or you can just kind of start putting things, but just remember to always blend the inside, either after your whole build or kind of while you're building. When you put things next to each other, give them a good twist and then blend the inside. So set your timer. I've taken up about maybe 10-15 minutes of your time. So do at least 15 minutes today of building on your base. And then whatever you get, awesome, snap a picture and turn that in. And then to cover your work today, you want to take saran wrap or a thin plastic bag and really tight against the lip and kind of loose against the body. Okay, so really tight on that lip because we want to build on that tomorrow, and we're okay if the base kind of sets up. All right, happy coiling.